Hello everyone, welcome to the TSS. So in this class we are going to study how routing takes place in the Flask, friends. In the last classes we had set up the environment with all the required softwares and libraries that are required to run a Flask application, and we briefly saw how a Flask web application works, right? And in this class we are going to discuss about the routing, friends. Okay, the concept of routing. Generally, what is called routing, friends? So what do you mean by routing? Routing means, so, to show a path. Okay, to show a path, right? Just like a traffic police in the junction. Okay, or in a junction there is a one notice boards, direction boards, sign boards is there, no? So on the sign boards, what we find, we can find the directions, that means routes. So to go to some city, which route we have to take, right? Similarly here also in Flask web application, the routing means whenever a user comes and visits a particular URL, URL means uniform resource locator, right? It's a basics of web development, and which I had elaborately discussed in my HTML tutorial, friends. If you are very new to this web development, please start with my HTML tutorials so that you can get all the preliminary ideas. Okay, so here in the Flask also similar thing happens. If a user comes and opens his web browser and visits any particular website, such as www.google.com, right, and flipkart.com and amazon.com, like that. So those are all the main website names. After the .com, okay, or .org or .net, after that .com, after the normal website name, whatever appears after .com, that is called the URL patterns. That means, for example, say google.com slash sign up slash register slash sign in. Okay, all those are called URL patterns, friends. Okay, normally user uh, come and visits so many different URLs. Okay, so at that time, that URL, that specific URL pattern will route the Flask to execute the functions, predefined function, friends. Okay, that means that URL pattern is internally mapped to a function, friends. So that function will execute and the output of that function will be rendered to the browser. Okay, this is the bottom line of routing, right? Routing, mapping, or binding, all these are synonymous. Routing or mapping or binding, these are all interchangeably we can use, right? So all those three terms mean the same, right? Okay, so let's that is the bottom line. Here I had marked this important routing stage of the application with the red color. You please observe. So after instantiating Flask class into a reference variable called app, so in that Flask class we have root decorator is there. So particularly this root decorator, what it does, it does the URL mapping, right? So whatever you can define, it is your wish. Okay, so the routing concept, the beautiful uh, beauty of routing concept is, and a developer can develop user friendly URLs, not complicated URLs. User friendly, user can remember it, right? So a developer can develop user friendly URLs. Okay, that is his wish, right? So you can define whatever you want, right? Relevant URLs we will put here. Okay, so for example, I had taken slash hi. That means, so after the basic website name, after that or .com or .net or .org, after that slash hi, if user visits this particular URL pattern, then this root decorator, what it will do, so it will execute the function here, right? So that is the bottom line. This is called the decorator concept. Okay, so this is by using decorators. Okay friends, and then the same functionality will be uh, given by with the normal function also. Without using decorator also we can uh, route to a function. We can map a particular URL to a particular function. That is by using app.add underscore URL underscore rule, friends. Okay, first let me discuss all these code snippets, and then I will show it to you practically, friends. So here we are not using any decorator. Here it is a normal method which is uh, in the Flask class, add underscore URL underscore rule, and it will take the pattern first. Okay, so this is the main pattern. After this slash, you can give hi, you can give hello, whatever you wish you can type here, right? So what it will do, it will execute the wish function, right? So here it is a name of the this is normal name, and it is the function name, right? So this is a normal function. Okay friends, so let me show it to you practically now. Let me jump into the VS Code. So in the last class, where we have left is we had created a Flask environment. We are inside that environment here itself. Okay, we had developed this basic application, friends. So here this is a decorator, root decorator, and this is a main home URL. Okay, so now let me run that Python app.py. Now the server started and listening to this port. So let me open that. Yeah, hello world has given. So what is the mechanism of this? So web server is listening at this IP address, and we are not giving any slash something slash hello or hi, nothing. Okay, we simply just typed the IP, that's it. Okay, so the slash or not slash, it is taking as home page, friends. Please remember the slash is important. So if we had given only slash, it is a home page. Okay, so this is hello world came. So what is the mechanism behind the scenes? Okay, so that I had explained to you. So whenever you user visits this particular URL, so that means slash, okay, Flask, what Flask will do, Flask internally will execute this function. Okay, so which function it will execute, because why this function only executes, because at the top of it we had defined, we had mapped, we had binded this function to this particular URL. Okay, so let me give say hi. Okay, now if user goes to this URL and type hi. Okay, hi, then this hello world will come. So before going to do that, what we will do is we have to save this file. Okay, we have to save, otherwise the changes will not take place, right? Okay, so let me now give uh, some, let me change it. Good morning. Okay, now I had changed the output of the function. So now if a user visits this particular URL, then what? Flask internally maps this URL to this function, and it will execute this function, and the return, what it returns to the end user, good morning. Okay, let's check it. So I had given after the slash hi, this is the URL pattern, this is the main website address. Okay, in place of this IP, it is internally mapped to www dot some google.com or some amazon.com, like that, but those IPs are different because this is a development server, this is a local host IP. Okay, so 127.0.0.1 is a local host IP, and the port on which our web server is listening is 5000. Okay, so in the real time scenario, all these will be replaced with www.google.com slash something like sign up or sign in, like that. Okay, but now we are in a development server, it will appear like this only, friends. Okay, and then after slash, what we are giving the URL pattern, hi is the URL pattern. So if I refresh the page, 1 minute, slash hi, I think it was not, I need to, so this is a, here I want to tell one important thing to you. So for every change in this code, we have to stop the server, like control C, and then we have to again run it. Okay, python app.py. Okay, so then only the server will be updated, the code will be updated, and then the web server will be uh, running with the updated code, right? So if I refresh with this URL pattern, good morning came, and it will be displayed to the end user, right? So if you again goes back to the code, and if you give like good evening, then what? The code has changed. Now what? So we need to again we need to break the server, stop the server, and we need to again run the server. So this is an all a headache uh, to the developer. So if you want our Flask app to detect all those changes which we are doing at the real time, and Flask itself will detect the changes and it will be updated on the fly, friends. If you want to do that, just we have to give debug is equal to true. So this parameter we should use for Flask to detect the changes in the code, and it will be automatically restarted. The Flask internal web server will be automatically restarted, right? So if I do like this, and then first of all, simple, first of all I have to run this, and then here you see debug mode is on. In the earlier stages, debug mode is off. That's why we have to manually stop the server and restart the server to effect the changes in the code. Okay, from now onwards we don't need to do all those things. Just we go on editing our code. The Flask web server internally listens to the all those code changes and it will restart automatically, friends. Okay, so let me change the code and you please observe here. Okay, so this is restarting, right? So it is uh, very much comfortable to us. Okay, so now let us say hello. It will be restarted. Yeah, again it was restarted. Okay, now you can directly go and change the URL pattern like this. Yeah, this is good afternoon. Okay, this is the URL pattern and this URL pattern is internally binded to this function. What Flask will do? So Flask will observe. So this URL pattern as typed by the user. So now I should execute this function and returns that output to the end user. Okay, this is the whole cycle, friends. Request response cycle. Okay, right? Okay, then coming to the next part, this is we are using decorator. By using decorator we are mapping the URL pattern or we are routing the execution flow to this wish function. Okay, so in the without using decorator also we can accomplish this. Okay, let me delete this one or let me comment out. Okay, I had commented it. Now app dot add URL rule. Okay, now we have to pass the parameters, required parameters. That means first we have to define URL pattern. Say hello. Okay, now the name of the function wish, like wishing, something like, and here you have to mention the direct function name. Okay, this string is that is your wish. You can give your name also, like I am giving TSS. Okay, internally we can use this TSS name to this wish in the reverse mapping. Okay, so that is another topic. You just remember this is the URL pattern and this is the name of the function to execute whenever user visits this kind of URL in the web browser. Okay, okay, then now okay, it was started. Debug mode on. Let me go and open the other 127/5/hello. Okay, good afternoon. It is working, friends. Okay, so let me hi, how are you? Okay, so detected the change. Here you can observe, okay, that the Flask itself detected the change that was made to the code and it itself restarted. Okay, let us now simply refresh. Then what happens? The Flask detected this URL pattern and directed the execution to this function. This time how it was directed? By using add URL rule method. Okay, not using decorator, right, friends? So by this, by how the routing is accomplished in the Flask, by using the decorator concept or by using normal method which is available in the Flask class. Okay, this is the bottom line, friends, of these tutorials. Okay, so let me summarize this. So basically routing means, so it will direct the execution flow whenever user visits to a particular URL, it will make a predefined function to execute, right? So that can be accomplished by using a decorator or with the normal method, right friends? And one more point. So to automatically detect the changes made to the code, we have to pass one parameter here, app.run. In the braces, we need to pass debug is equal to true. Then the internal development server will automatically senses that code changes and it will restart by itself. So that will make convenient to the end developer to test his code. Okay, so by manually restarting that server, it is a headache. Okay, so that's it friends, that's it for now. In the next classes we'll come up with the other topics. Till then, bye bye. Yours Veera signing off. Thank you for listening.